Is CUCET, the most talked about entrance test, still a mystery for you? For not a lot is known about its syllabus. Well, a lot may not be known about its syllabus, but what we do know for sure is that the verbal ability section of this aptitude test should be around reading comprehension, passage based questions, grammar, and vocabulary. Hi, my name is Brinda, and I'm the subject matter expert English at SuperGrads. And today in this session, we will talk about the English prep strategy for Central University Common Entrance Test. So, when it comes to the preparation for any entrance test, you definitely need a roadmap to help you achieve your goal. So, some good, tried, and tested books are, well, first and foremost, the super study material, which is exclusively curated for the students of Supergrads. Then, Wren and Martin, English is Easy, Word Power Made Easy. So, these are some good books that you can use for your preparation. Now, let's talk about the type of questions that are expected and their preparation strategy. We'll take a look at a question based on reading comprehension passage and understand how to go about getting the answer. So, when it comes to reading comprehension passage based questions, make sure that you read a lot. Don't just practice the reading comprehension passage based questions, but generally read a lot. That's the key. Now, let's take a look at this passage and try to get the answer. Let's read the passage together. So, this says the way we see the world and relate to others is intrinsically connected to our own set of values that govern the way we decide to live. However, the influence of fashion, consumerism, pop culture, broken homes, social unrest, and the media is all pervasive. For many people, teachers and students alike, this influence goes unquestioned. Critical thinking, if successfully taught at this level, becomes the antidote for individual and social illiteracy. For the authors, should constitute an indivisible part of overall educational process. Fessione, 1995 comments, critical thinking lies at the root of the civilization. It is a cornerstone in the journey humankind is taking from beastly savagery to global sensitivity, critical thinking. Now, see, what is the purpose? What do you think is the main idea of this paragraph? What was the writer thinking? See, he thinks that critical thinking is the cornerstone that can lead mankind from savagery to global sensitivity. So he says how we see the world depends on how we are, or and but then there are a lot of things that influence our thought process. And he says critical thinking can have an impact. In the next paragraph, he says supporting the development of these skills it involves reflective teaching and learning, which is highly complex and which some students may find difficult or interpret as weakness on the part of the teacher. But in the long run, with patience on the part of the teacher, it will develop students who can view old and new materials from a variety of sources through new eyes, using their skills to define their own stance and express it, often better in their second language, with an open minded confidence. Now, he says that critical thinking should be taught, and with the guidance of the teacher, students can learn it, and they may also use a variety of sources to enhance the development of the skill. Now, let's take a look at the question. So, the question says choose the line that best supports the passage. So, there are four options to choose from. See, when it comes to dealing with the questions, uh, make sure that the answer is related to the question. There will be options which will have a lot of things that are either not there in the passage, or they will be complete distortion, as in the passage will say X and these will say Y, or they will involve new information that was not there in the passage. So, if at all something is not there in the passage, it cannot be the answer. If something is completely opposite to what was written in the passage, it can never be the answer, right? So the answer will encompass whatever was there in the passage. So keep this in mind and then choose the answer. Let's take a look at the options together. So the first option says the world view of human being today is influenced by a lot of things. Fine, that is what we read in the first line. Critical thinking cannot be taught. Well, do you agree with this line? It says critical thinking cannot be taught, whereas the passage said if successfully taught. Now, see, the paragraph says critical thinking, if successfully taught, will result in XYZ. And the line says it cannot be taught. Don't you think it's a distortion? It's opposite of what we just read in the passage. So if the option states something otherwise, cannot be the answer, eliminate it there and then. Critical thinking must be part of individuals' education, but it is a difficult concept because it often reflects a teacher as a dominating individual. Now, how comfortable are we with this aspect of the answer where it says that the teacher is a dominating individual? We did read about the importance of teacher in the process of the development of critical skill, but did the passage say that the teacher is a dominating individual? No, it doesn't state that. Anyways, neither explicitly nor implicitly. Well, if the passage doesn't state an information, it cannot be the answer. Eliminate. Critical thinking is an important aspect of individual's literacy level and his social know-how. It is a part of civilization and eventually leads to global sensitivity. Student can look at information in a variety of ways. I guess these lines encompass everything that we read in the passage, so it's a good option, but never jump to conclusions. This may be a good option, maybe we'll find a better option. So let's put this one on hold and take a look at the next part. Reflective teaching is another aspect of initial thinking, and it could lead to individual and social illiteracy. Well, how comfortable are we with this part? It could lead to individual and social illiteracy. Critical thinking will lead us away from all these things, will lead us to global sensitivity. That's what the passage said. This line states the opposite. It says it will lead you to individual and social illiteracy. So is this right? No, it's completely wrong. So if it is wrong, it cannot be the answer. So the only part that best supports the passage is option C, and therefore that's your answer. Now let's take a look at the second type of question. Now let's talk about the grammar section of the test. So you can tentatively expect questions around parts of speech, voice, narration, rules of parallelism, and determiners. So practice these concepts well because students, these tests are application based. So have a clear understanding of the concepts. Now let's take a look at one question type. Reading the question is very important. Otherwise, you might end up missing an important instruction. In the following question, some parts of the sentence may have errors. Find out which part of the sentence has an error and select the appropriate option. If a sentence is free from error, select no error. So let's take a look at the first question, the first part. And this says, if Manali had worked hard, she will have got the job she desired. Now, see, although we are talking about the third conditional sentence here, but let's simplify it and understand that if one part of the sentence is in its past form, why would we have future tense in the same sentence? See, the tenses flow in the same direction. So if Manali had worked hard, she would have got the job. And if you apply the rules of conditional sentences, you'll still get the same answer. He told me that he wrote a letter to his superior for a certain reason. Now, where is the error in the sentence? See, the error is very simple. So he told you, see, this is the first activity that he did. I mean, this is one of the activities that he did. He told you something about what? About something that he had already done. So if we are talking about two activities in a sentence, in which happened in sequence of first activity, second activity, we should put past perfect form in the first activity. So what had he done first? He had written a letter. So he had written a letter and then he told, say, me about it. So the correct answer, the correction to the problem would be He told me that he had written a letter to his superior for a certain reason. So the error is in part B, and this is how you correct the error. Though you may not be asked to correct it, it's just for your knowledge. I am working at my present job since the day a son was born to my brother. Now, see, when did this gentleman start his work? I mean, we know when he started the work and for how long he has been working. So, since the day a son was born to his brother, he has been doing his present job. So, in such cases where we know the duration of the action, we do not use the continuous form, we use the perfect continuous form. So, I have been working at my present job since the day a son was born to my brother. So, the problem is in part A. Apollo was worshipped as long as the Roman Empire had lasted. Now, see, the problem is in option C, this had is redundant, it's not required. Why? We just discussed in second part that when there are two activities and they happen in sequence, so first activity, second activity, we use the past perfect form. But in this case, did these two things happen one after the other? No, they happened together, they happened simultaneously. So as long as Roman Empire lasted, Apollo was worshipped. So they both happened simultaneously, so we don't need the perfect form here. Simple past tense is good enough. So Apollo was worshipped as long as the Roman Empire lasted. So the error is in part C. Now let's talk about the vocabulary section. The vocabulary section. When it comes to the vocabulary section, sky is the limit. So make sure that you understand this challenging aspect really well because the test would be application based. So make sure you prepare the section well. Now let's take a look at some expected question types. The question says, pick out the word that is most nearly the opposite in meaning to the given word. Reading the question is important. Radical means something that affects the fundamental nature of something. So if a change is radical change, it goes to the root and makes the change. Uncompromising, I mean, that's the first option. Uncompromising is anything that's unbending, something that doesn't take into account the feelings or the opinion of others. So uncompromising, not the opposite to the given word. Basic, anything that's fundamental. Thorough, that's complete, gives you complete information, gives it's detailed. Superficial is something that is at surface level. So if radical changes affects the fundamental nature, superficial, surface level. So I think we found the answer. The answer to this one would be superficial. Cryptic is obscure, not clear, hidden, secretive. So superficial, already discussed. Secret, well, I guess it's a synonym, not the antonym. Artificial is anything that's not natural. Candid is straightforward, outspoken, clear, overt. So the opposite to the given word here should be candid. Now let's take a look at the next question type. The question says, in each of the following questions, choose the alternative which best expresses the meaning of the underlined idiom. Archie was cocksure that she was able to do the job as desired. Now, what does cocksure mean? Cocksure means excessively confident. Now, let's take a look at the options. Doubtful, not able to imagine, least worried, perfectly confident. Well, I guess we found the answer. It is perfectly confident. The social worker rendered human service to the victims. Now, human service, what does this mean? Human service means good, excellent service. Now, let's take a look at the answers. Options. So, excellent service, paid service, free, generous help, needed aid. Well, I guess the answer was simple excellent service. And the last question. Given below are sentences in which a word has been highlighted. Choose the word closest in meaning to the highlighted word. Application based. He was charged with collusion in the Ponzi scheme. Now, collusion means conspiracy. So, let's take a look at the options. Murder, kidnap, conspiracy, theft. I guess the answer would be conspiracy. If my boss doesn't grant me a leave on my first request, I'll blandish him into granting me one. Now, what does blandish mean? Let's say for a split second you do not know the meaning. How is it used here? See, So you're saying the boss will not give me leave, I'll blandish him into granting me one. So I'll make sure that I'll do something that he grants me leave. Now he's your boss. You can't even go and bang him. So what do you think could be the answer? Attack, bribe, opportunity, allure. Well, allure and blandish, they both mean kind of entice or coax someone into doing something generally by means of flattery. Defects, be it patent or latent, cannot remain undetected for a long time. Now, latent means hidden, patent means overt. Now, obvious, visible, undetectable, hidden. Well, latent simply means hidden. So, latent qualities, hidden qualities. Now, students, with this, I come to the end of this session. I hope you were able to gain something. Do leave your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay connected. Stay tuned for more. Take care. Bye bye.